So, a few days ago, my YouTube brother Fatal J posted a video covering the low score for Dark Phoenix on Rotten Tomatoes, and I posted this in response to that video. I thought I would get roasted for this comment, and I didn't. But, it would seem I wasn't too far off base here. Now, let's take a look at this article by Matt McGloin on Cosmic Book News. Disney, Fox sabotages, quote-unquote, Dark Phoenix for Captain Marvel and BRIE LARSON. Oh, God, really? I hope that's not the reason. Happy Galaxy Day. It's out with the old and in with the new as the reason for the failure of Simon Kinberg's Dark Phoenix movie may be the Disney-Fox deal, the Captain Marvel movie, and the promotion of BRIE LARSON as the new face of the MCU. Oh, God help us. Please, please no. I'm hoping and praying to anything sacred that Spider-Man will take over as the face of the MCU, but it's not looking too hopeful. I have said it before and I'll say it again. Tom Holland, that young man, has more charisma in his piggy toe than BRIE LARSON has in any amount of her entire body. Oh, she's just awful. With Dark Phoenix being a complete disaster at the box office, the, quote, blame game is now being played out in the Hollywood trade sites, with Deadline offering a spin on things in an article that places most of the blame on Fox Studios and, of course, none on Disney, who acquired the company in a $71 billion deal. Deadline offers numerous, quote, reasons why Dark Phoenix failed, but includes in their report a tidbit that is worth mentioning in that the movie was originally supposed to be two parts. It said that Fox execs changed gears, quote unquote, during late pre-production and demanded that it only be one movie. Now, that's entirely possible. However, Disney bought the franchise. They bought Fox before this movie was released. So they could really change whatever they want. I'd imagine. At this point, I would say all of the blame falls squarely on the shoulders of Disney. It's their property. So this blame game nonsense doesn't even fly. What's the point? They own it. They can do what they like. Apparently, they like to see it fail. Which, as I mentioned, I had my own theory about, trying to push out this old this old new generation of X-Men in order to promote their new woke version. X-women, X-people, who knows? And it's even been rumored that whole X-women line was injected in there by Disney, which wouldn't surprise me one bit. Moving on here. X-Men Dark Phoenix extended cut exists. In addition, reports are surfacing that a much better cut of X-Men Dark Phoenix exists that would have better fleshed out the story and included even more action and improved dialogue and a worthwhile villain. More on that below. According to fans that have viewed the cut, it would have added up to 22 minutes or more of footage. Fans that have viewed the two different cuts of the Dark Phoenix movie offer lines were changed in the theatrical version of the film that took away from the much better extended version. Oh, put on your tinfoil hat, boys and girls. We are going down the rabbit hole now. The theatrical release of Dark Phoenix has a runtime of less than 2 hours, while the preceding two X-Men films are near 2.5 hours in length. Comparisons to the Kingsburg cut are now being made to what happened with Zack Snyder's Batman vs. Superman and Justice League, cut down to 2 hours, which saw Warner Brothers executives interfere with Snyder's version and fans campaign for the release of the Snyder cut. Now, I remember that, and I despised that movie, Batman vs. Superman. Oh, it was, it had good parts in it. I still hold that that's probably the best, some of the best. Obviously, when they strayed outside of the character of Batman, it was a little cringe and awful, but still, that warehouse scene, best on-screen portrayal of Batman of all time. I don't care. Hate me if you want. But, yeah, the Snyder Cut did offer a few snippets that were edited out, where they were placed back into the film, and that actually tied things together much more nicely. Was it great? No, it still wasn't great, but it was a hell of a lot better than that garbage that made it to theaters, in my opinion. So it's being offered that that's what happened here, that there was too much cut out of this movie to make it worthwhile. Could very well be. Now, why would you cut Dark Phoenix and even go so far as to change the lines in the film? That's a very good question. Let's find out, shall we? Did the Disney-Fox deal cause executives to demand changes on Simon Kinberg's Dark Phoenix? Did similarities between the Dark Phoenix story starring Sophie Turner... Ew, Sophie Turner. You know what? I was never a big fan of Sophie Turner as Jean Grey in the first place. That woman is flat, man. I don't know if it's just losing the British accent or what it is, but man, just listening to her talk just turns me off. I can't take it. Not as bad as Brie Larson, but still, she's not, I don't know. I don't think she's really come into her own just yet. She came into her own with the character of Sansa, I believe, who I still didn't care for. But as Jean Grey, God no. Red hair does not automatically qualify you to play Jean Grey. I'm sorry. Oh, but sorry, straight away a little bit there. Back to the article. Did the similarities between the Dark Phoenix story starring Sophie Turner and the Brie Larson Captain Marvel movie cause Disney to interfere? Ooh, the plot thickens. Dark Phoenix was originally going to be the first quote-unquote Marvel movie starring a female superhero. But that went to Brie Larson and Captain Marvel when the Dark Phoenix release date was changed yet again and moved away from Captain Marvel. Dark Phoenix was supposed to come out November 2018, then February 2019, a month before Captain Marvel. Interesting. Did Fox decide to release Dark Phoenix as one movie because the Disney-Fox deal was going through? Were lines changed in the movie in addition to the ending redone so that it further separated Dark Phoenix from Captain Marvel that made it worse? Stroking my chin. You can't see it, but I'm stroking my chin, deep in thought. These are very compelling questions. Okay, interestingly enough, Deadline's piece offers no blame toward writer, director, producer Simon Kinberg. However, the same can't be said of online reviews and fan commentary. Well, of course not. Kinberg is getting hammered, in italics. He is getting hammered for the failure of Dark Phoenix, which only brought in a measly $33 million. By the way, if you haven't seen it yet, you can go back and watch my video on The Secret Life of Pets 2 versus Dark Phoenix and how they were set to overtake them at the box office. Spoiler alert, it happened. Deadline spins things, stating, quote, "We understand Kinberg got to make the film he wanted to make and was flexible about reshoots with the studio. The film he wanted to make? Their own reports state that Dark Phoenix was originally intended to be 2 parts. Certainly Kinberg, who is a fan of more than 55-year history of the comics and remembers the failure of Last Stand. Gross. Last Stand was awful. Which he also wrote. Wanted to correct things with the 2-parter Dark Phoenix movie. But we see he never got the chance. Which is because of the Disney-Fox deal. And now Dark Phoenix is considered worse than Last Stand by some. Oh, the irony. So the fans aren't having it. The internet can be a brutal place. That is quite ironic. I didn't think they could do a worse Dark Phoenix than The Last Stand. I admit I have not yet seen Dark Phoenix, and I'm wondering if I even want to. I'm just hearing so much garbage behind it. And if, I don't know, if Disney intentionally made this fail, that's just disgusting, especially if it was done to hold up Brie Larson. Brie Larson is a Sorry, almost let loose there. Brie Larson is a poor actress and a very cardboard human being. There, I said it nicely. Let's continue. Regarding reshoots, Kinberg most recently said they don't plan for reshoots while discussing New Mutants. He said, "For all of these movies, Marvel's really brilliant at scheduling pickups into their budget and schedule so it's all prepared, and we have never been that smart." So Dark Phoenix have reshoots and saw its runtime cut because the longer, by all accounts, much better version wasn't favorably received by test audiences, and they planned for that? Or was it again because Disney wanted Dark Phoenix changed so that it didn't resemble Captain Marvel? Probably. That's my opinion. I would say probably. They have really got this giant raging boner for Captain Marvel and Brie Larson. Why? I will never know. That movie was disgustingly boring. Brie Larson is just completely flat as an actress, at least in that portrayal of Captain Marvel. And I don't know, like, you really have to make something else worse in order to make her look better? I mean, that should tell you all you need to know. Just get rid of her and get someone decent. Okay, let's continue. It is knowing the ending of Dark Phoenix was changed, said to be similar to the end of Captain Marvel, from an epic United Nations scene to a CGI train wreck. Maybe Kinberg is trying to tell us something. Indeed, maybe he is. That's what I needed to see. Captain Marvel and Brie Larson can't lose. Not with billions behind them and, just the agenda-pushing nonsense. I guess she's not gonna lose. I mean, they can lose money left and right, but if they keep throwing money at this dumb broad, then yeah, she's not gonna lose. Regarding Captain Marvel and Brie Larson, while promoting the release of Captain Marvel amid fan backlash, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige told fans, note, bold emphasis is my own, quote, "She's one of the most powerful characters in our comics. She's one of the most powerful characters in the comics and, bold print, will be the most powerful character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe," unquote. Feige also added, "And one of the highlights at my career at Marvel was introducing her at Comic-Con and having her come out on stage and stand there with literally almost everything else from our universe. And, bold print, there she was at the forefront. And it was a, bold print, great foreshadowing of not just for how, bold print, audiences are going to embrace Brie as the character, but also for how, bold print, Captain Marvel is about to take the lead and be at the forefront of the entire cinematic universe. Vomit! Gross! Ew, who wants this? I was really, really hoping that they would just go ahead with Tom Holland and his Spider-Man. I mean, it's not the greatest iteration of Spider-Man, but I think Tom Holland does a great job. You can tell he's really into the character. He's really into the role. He really throws himself into it, and he has endless charisma for days. That guy is going places, and he really should be the new face of the MCU. But no, you want to see what we get? We get this glowy piece of trash, this garbage human being, this worthless, pretentious word I'm not going to use. This thing, that's going to be the new face. Okay, well, what would have happened if audiences favored and liked Sophie Turner and Jean Grey in the Dark Phoenix movie more than Brie Larson and Captain Marvel, as Dark Phoenix was supposed to be released prior to Captain Marvel? Yeah, what if? What if, ladies and gentlemen? What if? As much as I don't like Sophie Turner in the role of Jean Grey, I would watch her 100 times before I would watch Brie Larson as Captain Marvel once. Brie Larson is just awful. She's so awful. She's just pretentious as hell. And while Sophie Turner can be a little pretentious, she's, tolerable. at least. Moving on. How is Marvel Studios and Disney going to promote Captain Marvel as the first Marvel female superhero movie if Dark Phoenix gets released November 2018 or February 2019? Feige says it himself in that Brie Larson and Captain Marvel are taking the lead. Hate it. And will be at the forefront of the Marvel Universe. Why? Bad decisions, man. Are you, like, perpetually drunk, Kevin? What's going on? Do you need some help? I know some people. Give me a call. We can hook you up. That can't happen if X-Men's Dark Phoenix, Jean Grey, and Sophie Turner come out on top. Certainly, if fans, even the general audience, saw the original better version of Dark Phoenix prior to Captain Marvel, that they would have second-guessed what Feige and Marvel Studios were doing, even going so far as accusing Captain Marvel of ripping off Dark Phoenix. I wonder if that's what actually happened. Again, Feige, Marvel, and Disney couldn't let that happen. Billions of dollars were at stake. Well, I'm starting to wonder. I mean, I used to think that Kevin Feige was a businessman. I used to think he was pretty smart. But I don't know, these orders coming down from on high, like he seems to be losing his shit. He seems to be just losing his business sense. Billions of dollars are still at stake, folks. They're still at stake. And you're betting them on this next wave. This next wave of trash. See my Kamala Khan video. Yeah, I know that face. I understand that look. That's the face I make every time I see Brie Larson anywhere doing anything. She's just terrible. It all adds up. So, adding things up, Simon Kinberg's initial plan is to make a 2-part Phoenix movie, but during pre-production he was forced to only make it one movie. For some reason, Kinberg decided, quote-unquote, to cut the runtime, cut scenes, and change dialogue for the worse. The release date was changed not once, but twice, from November 2018 to February 2019, before the release of Disney's Captain Marvel, to a June-summer 2019 release after Captain Marvel, which Deadline offers was also a big mistake as, quote, the movie was never intended to be a summer film. Dark Phoenix is darker and more psychologically complex than other X-Men movies. It was always seen as an off-season release, and the original plan was to get out ahead of Captain Marvel, March 8th, and be the first female-led Marvel movie. Well, I guess that all changed when Disney bought Fox, didn't it? Lord. Okay, so I think you get the gist of this. Yeah, Disney interference. So yeah, Disney interfered with with Dark Phoenix, and yeah, they pushed it back. Simply, according to this, according to these theories, to push Captain Marvel to the forefront, to make her the first female-led superhero movie. Which, I mean, it isn't, but they all seem to think it is. Apparently nothing existed before the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Before 2008, well, hell, even after 2008, before Captain Marvel, we'll just put it that way, before March 8th, 2019, there's never been any female-led superhero movies. And if there were, you must forget about them, because Brie Larson is fucking boss, yo. Brie Larson's the bomb. Yeah, she's a giant bomb. She's a turd bomb that's going to explode all over Marvel Studios, and I mean, has already exploded in our faces, and we can smell it. So yeah, apparently Disney interfered with the launch of Dark Phoenix just to promote Captain Marvel, and that's also why it sucks so bad. Because they couldn't have a decent movie with a female superhero lead. I guess especially after, Captain Marvel was so boring. That was my biggest problem with it. It was just dull. But yeah, there you have it. I mean, which face would you rather look at, honestly? So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Please do like this video if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, if you think it sucks, there's a thumbs down button just for you. In either case, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe and share the channel. We're trying to grow. People, help me out. I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a glorious evening. Peace.